A shock rippled through South Africa and through diplomatic circles when news broke that Nathi Mthethwa, the country's ambassador to France and a long-serving ANC leader, had been found dead in Paris. This video takes a calm, careful look at what happened, what investigators say, and what the wider meaning could be for politics and for the man's own story. I will walk you slowly through the known facts, the context behind them, the questions that remain, and the possible consequences. Please listen with an open mind. This is about understanding, not rushing to judgment. A few key facts are clear from official reports. On the morning of September 30, 2025, Mthethwa's body was found outside the Hyatt Regency Paris Etoile Hotel. He had been missing the night before, and his wife had reported receiving a distressing message in which he apologized and suggested he intended to end his life. French investigators said the body was discovered in the hotel's inner courtyard and that he had stayed on the 22nd floor of the building. These details were reported by major news agencies and confirmed by the Paris prosecutor. The scene has prompted many questions. French authorities said the hotel window's safety mechanism appeared to have been tampered with, and they launched a probe to establish how the fall happened. At the same time, officials reported no obvious signs of a struggle or of drugs on initial checks. South African authorities sent investigators to assist and to collect more information, and the family has since recovered the body to bring it home. Those steps are routine for an overseas death that raises public concern. To understand why this death matters so much, we need to remember who Nathi Mthethwa was. He was a senior ANC figure and a former minister, including a spell running the police portfolio. He later served as Minister of Arts and Culture and as Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture. In 2024 he became South Africa's ambassador to France and the country's permanent delegate to UNESCO. He carried a complex public record, respected by some for his long service, criticized by others for controversies tied to his time in national office. Those earlier controversies feed the intense interest in how he died. When people hear the word conspiracy, emotions move quickly. Right now, there is no public, verified evidence in the official files that proves a deliberate plot to kill Mthethwa. French investigators are treating the case seriously and looking at the facts of the fall, the state of the hotel window, the messages he sent, and the timeline of his movements. South African probes are focused on confirming details, helping the family, and ensuring diplomatic channels cooperate fully. Rumors and speculative social media narratives travel fast, but they do not replace careful forensic work. It is important to separate what authorities have said from what people are saying in public forums. I will expand a little on the timeline, because the order of events helps make sense of the investigation. On the evening before the body was found, family members reported that they lost contact with him. A search followed after a distressing message reached his wife. Police and hotel staff checked the room and the area. CCTV footage and phone location data are always important in such cases, and investigators said they would check both to build a clear timeline. Investigators also look at hotel records, keycards, room service logs and any visitors recorded at the entrance to see who might have been near the room. These are the kind of simple facts that often reveal more than initial rumors. Next, the technical details matter. A fall from a high floor leaves physical traces that experts analyze carefully. Forensic teams examine the pattern of injuries, the way clothing was torn, and the state of the window frame and glass. They also test for any signs of restraint or external force. In many cases, forensic science can say whether a fall appears consistent with an accidental fall, a deliberate jump, or an external act. That is why we must give space and time to the formal probe. Public reaction has been immediate and intense. Supporters and critics alike have shared memories and questions. Political allies have expressed grief and called for full clarity. Opposition voices have said the investigation must be thorough and seen to be independent. Diplomatic colleagues in Paris offered condolences and noted the unusual nature of a serving ambassador dying in such circumstances. The South African government announced it would cooperate fully with French authorities and the family. The body was flown home, and plans were made for a funeral attended by officials and community members. It is also important to be careful with language. Saying killed or murdered has legal weight. At this point, public reports from prosecutors and news agencies have described the death as a fall and have noted that inquiries are ongoing. Until investigators publish a final report, we must avoid repeating claims that are not supported by evidence. Doing so helps protect the integrity of the family and the fairness of any future legal process. Several lines of inquiry are crucial. Investigators want to know who had access to the hotel room, whether security cameras recorded relevant movements, whether the window's lock could have been forced from inside or outside, and what the full toxicology and medical report will show. The timeline of his phone, the content and timing of the message to his wife, and whether there were signs of planning or distress will also matter. These technical questions answer emotional ones. If any of these points show evidence of foul play, that would move the case in a different direction. If they point to suicide, that will raise other questions about mental health and the pressures on public figures. We must also look at the political implications. Mthethwa was linked to major events and controversies in South Africa's recent history. His death comes as the country continues to wrestle with corruption inquiries, factional tensions, and debates about accountability in public office. Whatever the final official conclusion, this event will be examined inside political hearings, by journalists, and by citizens who want to know whether larger forces were at play. Those conversations can be healthy if they push for transparency and a clear investigation, but they can also be dangerous if they fuel baseless accusations or deepen divisions. Looking ahead, a few outcomes are possible. The inquiry could confirm suicide, leading to public discussions about mental health support for diplomats and former ministers, and about the pressures that come with a life in the spotlight. The inquiry could reveal accidental causes, such as a window mechanism failure, prompting safety reviews in hotels. Or investigators could find evidence warranting a criminal investigation into third-party involvement, which would trigger arrest and a very different national conversation. Each path demands careful legal and forensic work, and each will shape the memory of Nathi Mthethwa in different ways. In closing, this is a sad and complex story. A senior public figure has died far from home in troubling circumstances. There is grieving to be done, questions to be answered, and a public interest in an honest investigation. We will follow official updates as they come. If the findings confirm suicide, it will open conversations about the pressures of public life and the support systems available. If the findings point to foul play, the consequences will be severe and justice must follow. For now, we must wait for the facts and support the family in their loss. Thank you for listening. If you found this explanation helpful, please subscribe to the channel for more careful coverage of South African politics and major news events. Tell us in the comments what questions you still have, which angles you want us to follow, and how you think authorities should handle the investigation. Share your thoughts but keep the conversation respectful and evidence-based. Hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our follow-up reports. Your voice matters, and your engagement helps keep the story honest and focused on facts.